we're talking about something that gets a bad rap, but also super important. I think just taking 5 minutes, even of planning, can save you hours of stress and get you a lot better results when it comes to your health and fitness journey. And usually that comes down to just tracking your food. Before everyone clicks off of this because they think we're gonna tell you to weigh everything for the rest of your life. That's not what this is about. But I think that a lot of people have tracking completely backwards. They think that if they track food, they're going to become more obsessed when in reality, what we see is the opposite usually. People who aren't tracking or planning end up thinking about food all day. What should I eat? Can I eat this? Did I already eat too much? Why am I hungry? Why am I not seeing progress? What am I doing wrong? And then spend the whole day making decisions.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Like, I feel like people feel like this is just gonna be another stressor in my life. I'm having to track food, and all I'm gonna do is think about food all day if I'm tracking everything. And I really think it's the opposite. I mean, because if you're tracking things and you know you have here's the key. You have a plan for the day or the next day or however you decide to set it up. And what that does is we all know this, whether it's kids or adults, when you have a plan and you have a structure, environment, a routine, that takes a lot of the decisions making out of the process and it usually makes things go a lot better and the stress starts to come away some. So I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like once you start tracking food and once you have a really good, again, this is the key. Once you have a really good plan for what you're doing, that takes away. You don't have to think about it anymore. You know what you're going to be eating. You know what the options are. You know what are the good choices to make are. And so that's the way I would look at it. And it's like a lot of things. Sometimes it might take a little bit of work in the beginning, especially if you've never done it before, just kind of get the hang of it. But once you get into it, it makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of times I was talking to one of my friends about this. In general, it's like when we're switching tasks, when we have all these little micro decisions that we have to make throughout the day, not even just about food or fitness, but like anything, even like business stuff or work stuff or family stuff. Like every time is just taking that mental capacity. And especially when you have so much on your plate, like you're just drained mentally, emotionally. You're like, yo, I don't have the energy to do any of this. And I think that's where a lot of people are when they think about fitness. Even with the scholarship that we were doing, I reach out to so many people like, no, I got too much on my plate right now. I'm like, that's literally why, why we're doing this. Like, it helps take it off. You're like, we're giving you back more time and energy by having the right structure. Most people just completely don't understand that.
Yeah. And I think the key is really setting everything up before you go do things, right? And we'll get into this later. I just want to kind of give a little example of, you're going out to eat or something like that. And if you don't take a few minutes to think about what you're going to eat or whether that's a good option or not, then it opens up to anything. Right. And so I had a client who was eating, had some sloppy joes and he ate it and then he tracked it. Right. And you can do it that way, but he just ate, wasn't thinking about what was in the recipe. He just made it. It tastes good. He put it in there, and it was a really super high calorie sloppy joe. And I have nothing wrong with sloppy joes, but I said I love sloppy joes. But I said, hey, you know what? I have a recipe for that could really cut down the calories, and it's going to taste very similar. If he would have thought about beforehand going in there, like, what is this going to look like? Even if he just put in the recipe and said, what is this going to look like before I eat it? He would have realized, wow, that puts me way over what I should be doing today, even probably for the next couple of days. And let me see if there's ways I could still make this very enjoyable, but scale back on some of the calories and some of the other things in that.
Yeah. Like I will not go through like every single day. I'm tracking my calories the day before. I'm tracking everything before. I'm planning out my day the day before. So that way I know, even in the back of my head, like if I need to adjust stuff on the fly, it's like I know what things are going to look like. I know what room I have to work with. And like I don't think about it at all. Like, especially when I have my meals preps, like I literally don't think about a single thing all day. Like I know it's in there. I make a couple adjustments if I have to weigh certain things out. It's so easy. And I think a lot of people are stressed just because like they don't know. One, they don't know why their body isn't changing. But like you don't know if you're eating enough. You don't know if you're overeating. You don't know why the weekends are throwing you off. And it can be from like those little recipes, like you said with that client. Like you don't know where the actual problem is. I think so that uncertainty creates a lot of that mental noise too.
Well, I was just thinking about this too. Have you ever gone to a restaurant where you had no idea what you're going to order? And you're in there and you just can't decide. And then and then
Yes.
and then you make a decision. It's almost like you're starting to stress out about it, and you're like, The waiter comes back, it's like the 3rd time, they're like, "Are you ready?" They're like, I give me 1 more minute," and then they keep coming back, and like, "I just gotta make a decision," and you pick something, and then you're over and you're like, "I should have gone with something else." That wasn't the best choice, and I feel like that's what a lot of times people are doing throughout the day, especially they know they eat something, and then later, like, "That was not a great decision."
Mhm.
But the planning beforehand didn't go into it, and so they either reacted based on cravings or by the way something looked like, or they were convinced by what someone else was doing. There's just a lot of different things that could pop in your head and help you make that decision, as opposed to, "Hey, I know what this is gonna look like. I know this is how it's gonna affect my body, whether it's gonna be good for me or not, and this is what I'm doing."
Yeah. I think especially like when it's easy to do day to day, even when you're meal prepping. It's just like when you're meal prepping, literally plan it out for the week and then you can just copy paste stuff over for the day or like you don't even need to track and you know what you're having every meal. But especially if you're going out to eat, I feel like that's where it's super important. Usually I won't go out to eat without knowing what I'm going to eat going into it because I'll go look up the menu, be like, okay, what am I going to have? Like, what's going to be good? Obviously, sometimes like it's stuff on the fly, which is totally fine too. But that's where having that awareness is key and being able to track it and go in knowing what you have to budget for. Like, especially if you're going out, it's like a lot of times we can adjust stuff earlier on in the day. Let's have a little bit more protein heavy because we probably won't be getting as much protein, or there's going to be a lot more fat in our meal out. So it's like it makes it a hell of a lot easier when you got to plan ahead of time, basically.
I really love the analogies with, like, budgets. Share with us, like, help us out, like, tell us how it's similar to, like, a financial budget.
Yeah, I feel like there's finances are always such a good parallel to like business and fitness. But imagine if someone said that they want to save money or build wealth or they want to stop overspending, but they never look at their bank account or they never tracked their spending or knew where their money was going or never planned anything.
Well, and I was thinking about this the other day. Think about you're going on a vacation, right? And you don't look up anything. You don't look at all the fun stuff to do, and you've kind of planned for how much the hotel room costs, things like that. And so you know how much to spend. And you get there and you find out there's like a dolphin excursion, or you find out that there's this cool deep sea fishing or something. And you're like, oh man, like how much does this cost? And it's going to be super expensive. And so you have a couple decisions. You can, one, not do it with the possibility that you're kind of disappointed at the end of the vacation. You're like, I wish I would have done that because that would have been a lot of fun. Or you do it and then you are way over your budget. And so you either have to save later on or you go into a little debt or something, and because you didn't plan or prepare for it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's usually what most people fall into when they are going out to eat, for example. It's either it's like, oh, like I don't know what to eat, like I don't want to ruin anything, like I just won't do anything, or I'll just have like, or I'll just like I'll skip it, whatever. Or they're like, oh, it's like fuck it, whatever. I'm already here. I'm just gonna have what I want, and then they feel that guilt after, like, oh man, why did I do that? And then that usually sends them into more of a spiral after too, which is kind of like in that fucking mode of like, oh, I already messed up, so it's like, what's another day or what's another meal, and then that's what sets them off in that on off cycle.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. I really feel like if you are wait till in the moment to decide where you're gonna eat, it's just really hard to make the best decision.
Yeah, especially if you're really hungry too. Recipe for disaster.
Yes, yeah, our emotions, when we're tired of the whole hangry stuff and whatever,
Mhm.
I mean, it is really hard, when you have it planned or you've already had the meal prepped and it's ready to go. It is so easy to pass on all these other options that you know aren't great for you if you already have your meal ready to go and you know it's gonna be a great meal.
Yeah, like you said too, it's like going off of emotions. A lot of times people are just stressed or bored or tired or whatever, and then they're gonna go and eat. So if you already have stuff planned, that takes that off of your plate. I mean, kind of funny analogy, but and it kind of bring it back to the finance examples. Like you wouldn't just say, I'm gonna keep spending and hope it works out. You want that awareness, you want the budget, you want the data. Mm, You don't need to assess about every dollar forever, but just again, we need that awareness so that way you have control. And same thing with nutrition.
Well, and I think what we've seen in society is a lot of people have said, well, I'm just going to do this and not really think about it. And they're in debt. There's a big time debt, right? And so it's the same thing with their bodies. There are people that are they're way overweight. They're just not healthy. It's because time after time after time, they just said, oh, well, or I'm not going to obsess, but I'm not going to think about it right now. And you just can't do that every single time. And we're not talking about being restrictive. I mean, if you have the plan, you can go out and have fun. You can do a lot of fun stuff with that, but you already know what to expect. Going back to my vacation thing, if you've already looked that up and you said, "Oh, you know what? That's gonna be a fun excursion. We wanna do that," you can save ahead of time, or you can figure maybe, work extra hours, whatever you need to make sure that you cover for that. But you have a plan, you go into it and you feel great about it. Doesn't matter how expensive, because you've already planned for it.
It gives you more of that freedom and flexibility.
Right. So, okay. So when we're talking about tracking, it is a tool to use, not something that you have to use for the rest of your life forever and ever and ever. And you can never stop and you have to be obsessive about it. There are days where I'll track and I'll do every single thing. And there will be days that I don't. But it's like, like we said, it's kind of like budgeting, right? You don't have to track forever, but it is good. And you don't have to budget forever, but it is good to every now and then do a little audit, right? Check out, okay, where am I spending? Where you see ads all the time pop up, right? For apps and things like that that will look and say, "Hey, you're spending too much here." Same type of things. "Oh, you know what? I'm spending too much on this, this, and that." Same type of thing with food. Sometimes we'll track for a while. We'll come back and say, "Wow, you know what? I thought I was getting enough protein in, but I'm getting a little bit less than I thought I was in pretty consistently. So I need to bump up protein." Or calorie wise, I thought it was pretty good, but you know what? I'm just a little bit over for the average for the weekend, so no wonder I'm not losing weight or I'm on that plateau or something like that. So there's a lot of things to look at, but it helps us to be aware. It helps you to be aware of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and whether it's affecting whether you're progressing or not.
Kind of like we talked about in our last week's episode of you have to find the limits with your training to be able to pull back. Same here. It's like you need to have that baseline understanding before you can eat intuitively and listen to your body. Like you need to have that understanding. And that's what we do in our coaching process too. Like our third phase, is Unbreakable Lifestyles, like we actively want to make sure that we're getting people out of this. Is like we get to give it a lot more freedom and flexibility. You know how to go and eat what you want. You get to go on date night and travel and do all these things, and you don't really have to track anymore. Like people have a lot more free days or we aren't tracking at all. It's like we build that in. So that way it's like you build the foundation, like you get the results and then you know how to transition out of it to live the lifestyle you want. So it's like you said, it's not a life sentence to track, but it is an important piece that you do need to go through.
Yeah, we did something fun the other day with our team. We shared a couple of days of tracking. And I made the comment. I said, "These are pretty typical, but I didn't share my Taco Tuesday with you guys because I don't track Taco Tuesday, and I know I
Yeah.
probably go way over. But so I have fun on Taco Tuesday. And I go way over than what my average for every other day is. But it's okay because I make up for that. I plan for it the rest of the week. So it's not just I'm just randomly doing it and plan for that day. And so I can have fun. I can really enjoy it and no guilt. The next day I just get back on plan the way I wanted to.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. And like we were saying earlier too, I really want to drive the point home of tracking reduces the decision fatigue. If you don't want to think about food all day, I get it. Like, of course. But planning, not planning usually creates more thinking because then every meal you're just trying to figure out on the fly. Like you said, you're sitting at the restaurant, you're like, oh, like, what's the best choice? Or what do I want? What should I eat? Like, I'm so hungry. Like, this is what I'm craving. Can I fit this in? Like, you have all those thoughts and then you're making decisions all day.
Yeah, and just think about let's just run through really quickly, run through like a typical day at a job site or something like that, right? So let's say, you eat breakfast at home and you don't bring your lunch in, right? Because they have lunch provided for you a lot of times. So you go there, so you're getting hungry. Okay, I want to have lunch. Now, if you don't have a plan, now you got to think right now you're starting to get hungry. So you want some food and you're not quite sure what's the best choice. So you're probably going to lean to what is either comfort food or something you know is going to taste good. You're not even quite sure what the calorie content or protein or anything like that is. And then you're hungry later on. And then for dinner, you're like, well, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to eat for dinner. I'm just going to grab this because I'm tired. When we're tired and hungry, then we don't make good, right? And it's something simple, quick, and then if someone would have gone back and tracked everything, you realize, "Oh, hey, you know what? You were way over calorie here. You had hardly any protein." The processed food, I didn't even bring up that point. A lot of times we go to not even making food. Maybe I gave ourselves too much credit. A lot of times it's what is available like this, or what can I stop by? Maybe it's on the way home. You grab something at the drive through, or you pop something in the microwave real quick and you end up eating a lot of processed food. So there all those things just firing in my brain. There's all kinds of things that if you don't plan, you could lean to, which would not be the best option.
Yeah. Like I'm telling you, it creates so much more freedom. And it takes, this is the part too, it takes 5 minutes out of your day max. like, if that, to track all your foods. So it's like people like, "Oh, like, it's too time consuming, or it's too much work." I'm like, literally 5 minutes. Like, you are not gonna take 5 minutes to reduce all the decision fatigue, and not to mention, if you track and you put yourself in a deficit, you are guaranteed to see weight loss. There is no other way around that. You will lose weight. So people are like, "Oh, like, why am I not seeing results?" Like, literally take the 5 minutes to track. Like, that is your answer. Like, why is there so much resistance to that?
Yeah, and you hear about this a lot, but I mean, the bottom line, yes, there are some other things involved, but the bottom line is you have to be in a caloric deficit, right? And so if you don't truly know if you're taking in less, and you don't know if you're in a calorie deficit, and so you don't, so if that's why you're not losing weight. And so yes, it really does to be able to know for sure. All right, and I'll tell you that the days that I track versus the days that I don't track, I guarantee you I take in more calories when I don't track. It's because I do little things like, well, I'll just throw in a few more of this or a few more of that, or I'll eat a couple more of this because I didn't have to track it. So I don't have to think about it. I don't have to put it in there. There's a funny scene from Seinfeld. And this is back in the day when like teas came out where you had to like shake it, like glass teas, like Snapple came out. It was a big deal back in the day. You had to shake it. And she's like, "Do you have something to drink?" And he's like, "Yeah, in the fridge." She grabs something and she goes, "Oh, you gotta shake it." And Jerry's like, "Yeah." And he like shake it. Literally took like 3 seconds to shake it. And that's the same type of thing. Like we're like, "Oh, I gotta track it." And you're like, it'll take like just a minute or two to put it in the system. Then you know exactly what you're eating. And it also helps you to not go overboard. There's many times where I track and it's like, if I hadn't tracked it, I probably would have had a little bit more of this, a little more of that. But I see the numbers right there and I know, "Oh, I need to stop right here because this hits my goal exactly." And then even on the side of, there's been times where I have experimented a little bit and said, okay, let's say I'm putting, peanut butter on something or honey on something, and I want to get the least amount possible, still get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. And I've realized that I could eat a whole lot less and I get the exact same enjoyment without all the calories and then the negativity towards it.
Yeah, I posted that the other day too. I'm like, we don't need to follow serving sizes. Do not listen to like, find what works for you, especially like when it comes to oils. Like, you don't need to use usually a full serving of oil. If that's like, have more than 3 ounces of meat. Servings are just marketing. It's just like, it's not what you need. So it's like, don't follow, like, don't listen to that. Like, plan stuff out, figure out what you need to be able to hit your goals. And like you said, a lot of times you don't need a full serving of stuff to get the same amount of taste. Like, that's kind of like what I do if I put like butter on my toast. It's like, I could literally use like 3, 4 grams as opposed to what, sorry, I don't even know. I think it's like 10 or 15 or something. Like, it tastes exactly the same.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, like when you're talking about getting enough protein in, so many people will go by like that 4 ounce, and they're like they have 4 ounces, and they're like, "I'm struggling to get extra protein." And I'm like, first thing, let's just add more of what you're eating. Why are we only eating 4 ounces of ground beef? Why don't we have 8? What's stopping us from having 6 to 8 ounces? Do that, like double your protein. How easy is that? And I mean, it's not gonna make you stuffed. It's not gonna do anything other than help you get your protein goal.
Yeah. I think ultimately, like, I get frustrated when people are like, yeah, I'm doing all the things right, but I'm not seeing results. And then, of course, they get frustrated, but then they aren't willing to do the 5 minutes of tracking and planning ahead time. Like, you can literally get your goal if you do this thing. So it's like, clearly you don't want it as much as you say you do then. Like, what's up?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I get it. There's a lot of things going on in life, and you're like, and I understand the thought process, but we're telling you right now, if you will take a little bit of extra time, and I'm talking about a little bit of extra
Very
time,
little.
yeah, very little, to do this, it will definitely take away a lot of stress. You're gonna feel so much better about what you're eating, and you're gonna start seeing results because you know exactly where you are. You have that data to back it up. And if you aren't seeing results, then we can look at, well, there's something else going on. Because we've talked about it too before. I remember you talking about a client where like she was literally doing everything, single thing right. And but her job was like stressing her out to the max. And when she quit that job, she started seeing results. But
Mhm.
only if she hadn't tracked everything, if we didn't really know what she's doing, we could have said it's almost like throwing a dart at a board type of thing. We're just randomly throwing something, hitting, guessing type of things. So the data is important and tracking will help.
Yeah, and when we do that with clients too, again, like, we're trying to create that sustainability. We're not trying to have any sort of obsession around food. We're just creating that awareness. We're collecting data. and helping them learn one, what works for the body, what doesn't, where calories coming from, like how, like you said, how can we have the same things that we want to enjoy every single week? We can have all the pizza and all the stuff, and we can make it a little bit healthier. And it, like, you don't have to sacrifice on the enjoyment and taste. Also bringing awareness to what's happening on the weekends. How much does that set you off if you're going off and having a bunch of drinks or eating out every meal? How much protein are we getting? Why are our hunger levels super high? Why is progress always like, we have all this data, and so like every single week we know exactly what we need to do, what we need to change, and what we need to coach them on to help them see the results they want and still fall in love with the process and still make it very enjoyable and sustainable.
Yeah, if you're going through this journey, I mean, obviously you care about how you feel, you care about your energy, you feel about how you're being able to come out there for the people around you. And so you're working hard for this. We don't want to just throw random solutions at random problems, right? So what we want to do is take the time, track it. It's not too much work. It's going to give you a lot of information, and it's going to be able to tell you where you are and what you need to do to improve yourself. I mean, that I don't know. Sometimes I get lost in words, I'm like, "Just try it," because I know
Literally.
someone and I kinda pause for a second because I see that person right now thinking, "Well, I'm not gonna try." You know, it's like, even after all we say is like, "I'm not gonna track food," but just try it for a little bit. Again, we're not saying forever. Try it. I'm telling you, you will become, even at the very least, you become really aware of what you're eating, how much you're eating, and start figuring out why you're eating certain things.
And not to mention too, there's AI now. You can literally hold up your phone to the food and it'll say, "Here's your meal." You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, the apps are getting better and better and better. They make it easier and easier for you, for sure.
But yeah, so bottom line is 5 minutes or ideally less, usually probably more like 2 minutes a day can save you hours of stress, and a few minutes of tracking can save you months of confusion with your results. And I think that sounds a hell of a lot better than spending 6 months saying, "I'm working so hard, I have no idea why nothing's changing," because that's where a lot of people come to us. So, if you enjoyed this episode, send it to someone who wants the results but refuses to look at the data, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. We'll catch you guys on the next one.